Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel and thanks for joining me for another video. This is Quita from AtHomeWithQuita, and here I share tips on how to plan a balanced life. So if you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing. So as we are now in a new year, and most of you probably are getting settled into your new planner, there are some of you who have yet to pick up one. You're still on the hunt for the right planner for you for this year. So before you go out and buy that planner, here are some things that you can check before making that decision. So that's what I'll share today. So let's get into it. Right, you guys, so I'm just gonna hop right on into it without delay. The first thing that you'll want to check when exploring a new planner and deciding on whether or not it's going to work for you is the line spacing. So I prefer to just custom my spacing. As you guys know, I do own a stationery shop, Fancy Plans Co, and I kind of just work with what I think is going to work best for me, and then again I share with you guys in hopes that you'll love it as well. So I have no idea of what standard spacing we use because we use different spacing depending on the insert, but most people prefer a spacing that is similar to the Happy Planner, which is 0.7 centimeters. No less than 0.25 is what I would say I would use as just a frame of reference. So for instance, this insert has a little bit less spacing than this one. So that's what I'm saying when it comes to our insert. It's not standard like some of your other companies out there who use one specific spacing across the board. But I would say, again, a good rule of thumb is no less than 0.25. That's going to be your best bet, because what you're looking for is how much space you need to write with. So that's why you kind of want to go into those craft stores and check things out and base your purchase of that planner on whether or not you can write within the spacing that they give you there. So check that first. That is important. I know it seems like it's something very minimal, but I tell you, when you get that planner home and you got to squeeze your writing in between the lines, it's not going to be fun. So on the front end, it's best to just go ahead and look that up now and determine whether or not that's going to work for you before investing in a planner, because some of these planners can get quite expensive. So you want to make sure that it's going to work for you. So first up is that line spacing. That is important. Next thing is the start day of the week. So there's so many different options when it comes to that. You can have a Monday start for your weekly, Sunday start for your monthly, a Monday start for your monthly, a Sunday start for your weekly, Monday weekly, Monday monthly. There's options, okay? And so you want to determine what's going to work best for you, what day of the week you want to start. Some planners start the week on Mondays and some start on Sundays. That's just the way it is. I much prefer when the week starts on a Monday, and for whatever odd reason, most planners start the weekly spread on Monday, but they start the monthly calendar on Sunday. It's just a thing, you guys. And the same thing when it comes to Fancy Plans Co. inserts. That's just standard with us, just because it's just standard with the industry, and you know, we don't want to throw people off too much. So what I mean by that is that when you get to your monthly calendar here, you're going to see a Sunday start. Okay, and then when you get to your weekly here, you're going to see a Monday start. So you'll have to determine if that's going to work for you. This is pretty standard across the industry, but sometimes you'll find a Sunday monthly insert, and then you can find that coordinating Sunday weekly insert as well. And if your brain works like that, that'll be a great option for you. So again, everything that I'm mentioning to you in this video is something that you'll want to check on the front end, not after the fact. Once you've invested in this planner, you have it and you're kind of stuck with it. So you want to make sure that you check that before you buy it. And again, if you go into these craft stores, you can look through the planner, kind of feel the paper, and you can see the spacing. You can see, you know, how the layout looks in real life, for real time, and you can see the start dates, and you can determine whether or not that's going to function properly for what you need it to function for. So if that annoys you that there's a Sunday on the monthly and a Monday on the weekly, as much as it annoys some other people, just check before buying. And if you're buying these inserts online, of course you could see it online, but you're not going to be able to touch anything or feel anything. And it's going to be hard for you to see the line spacing, but at least you'll be able to see whether or not the insert starts on a Monday with the weekly and a Sunday with the monthly, or a Sunday monthly and Sunday weekly, or whatever type of start date you would like. You should be able to find that online. But when it comes to these standard planners, like what the Happy Planner offers, stars, Erin Condren, planners like that, you're going to see this specific Monday start for the weekly and Sunday start for the monthly. And we just follow suit with that. So you got to determine if that's going to work for you, but it's definitely something to consider before buying your planner. Okay, so another thing that you're going to want to check for is the monthly calendar and whether or not it has split boxes. So that may annoy you. It doesn't annoy me, but in our Fancy Plans Co. inserts, we don't have a split box on the monthly. So basically what that means is, if I can get to the monthly, I can show you, is that once you get to the end of the month, then you run out of space. So let's say that let's say for instance, I think this is a good idea or a good example of that, because there are 31 days in January. And so we're going to need a little bit of extra space when it comes down here. And we're not going to cycle back up to the top because that's just not what we do. Okay. So this will be the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th. There'll be a line here, 30, a line here, 31. Okay. So that's what it would look like in a layout that already has it designed for you. And that typically is going to come with your dated inserts. So you'll see a line and it'll have a split for those other days, because again, they're not going to put it up here. Some inserts may, or some planners may put them back up here at the top, but we just leave it all blank for you. So that way you can go up at the top if you want, or you can come here at the bottom. So you'll want to make sure that you look at that, because for some people it is a pet peeve. So when the monthly calendar splits one day's box into two rather than restarting the date numbering at the top, some people don't like that. And so you just want to make sure that you're looking at that on again beforehand. And if you do find that there is a split box and that annoys you, just use a little whiteout on it and cover it up, and then come to the top if you would like. I happen to be okay even if there was a split down there, but I do like the functionality and the ability rather to be able to decide where I want that split. So again, a lot of people don't like that. Some are okay with it. You just have to decide what works best for you. So the next thing that you want to check for is bleed through. So you want to really get in, so the next thing you want to check for is bleed through. Now I know that's going to be hard because when you're trying to find a planner in the craft stores, you can't write in it to see, but do your research. There's several videos out here on YouTube, all over social media, that'll tell you what pens work best with what planners. So you'll want to make sure that you do a little bit of research again to see that. Now, if you're buying something digitally, it's going to be harder to tell, but you should be able to find something out there from someone who has used those particular inserts and can kind of reference you with what pens are best for that paper. Our paper is butter. I love it from what I heard from you guys, and I absolutely adore it. And so the best pens that I have found to use with this paper is different from the Happy Planner paper, but it's similar in that you kind of can use the same pens. So these pens are gorgeous. They're from our shop. We have a whole collection of aesthetic, neutral-like pens just like this. This is a gel pen. Gel pens work really well on Happy Planner paper, Erin Condren paper. So I can give you a quick example of that. So this is an Erin Condren planner, and her paper is more on the thicker side, more of a premium sort of paper, just very thick. I mean, I guess it's not so thick, but it's thicker than what you will typically see. It's very different from the Happy Planner. And so this paper should hold up very well when it comes to pretty much any type of pen. So I'll show you this pen. I'll also show you another very popular pen, which is the Papermate Inkjoy gel pen. And then I will show you the Papermate Flare. These are really popular pens in the planning world. So I'll test those out for you just to show you. And this is a gel pen, and this is just like a, I don't even know what to call it, type of pen. It's like a marker pen almost. I'm sure there's a name for it, you guys. I just can't think of that right now. And again, this is a gel pen as well. You're not really going to be able to use like a Sharpie, but I will test that for you as well if that's something that you like using. So I'll give you 4 of the most popular pens that you can test. Now, if you have like a ballpoint pen or anything like that, you should be fine. And also a highlighter. Highlighter should have no bleed through also, but you may find it in some planner companies that there is bleed through. So you just want to again do your research to see what the pen or the marker or highlighter is going to look like on that particular paper. So as I've told you, there's probably going to be no bleed through, you guys, because this is just good paper. And these are standard pens. Now this is the Sharpie. So I guess I should write the name of what it is. Okay, and I'm gonna flip it over and show you. This was the Papermate Inkjoy gel pen. These are our aesthetic pens. Love these pens. This is my favorite pen right now. And then this is the Papermate Flare. Okay, and then that was the mild liner. All right, so if I flip it over, you'll be able to see if there's any bleed through. And so that is very important because on this side of things, you don't want what you wrote in the other side to affect what's on this side. So you want to make sure that there's no bleed through. And as you can see, even with the Sharpie, there is no bleed through, which is great. So I'll do a test in the Happy Planner. All right, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the same thing because the paper is a different quality, but it's pretty much, it's good paper. So you'll find pretty much the same thing. I am curious to see the Sharpie though. And this isn't a typical situation that you're going to see. You're not typically going to use a Sharpie to write in your planner, but it's good to know, you know, what will actually work on it. So this is the Sharpie. This is the Papermate Inkjoy. Okay, this is the Aesthetic from our shop. And this is the Flare. Okay, and then highlighter. All right, and I'll put another line just to see how many you can do and if there's bleed through on that. All right, so same thing, no bleed through. This is super important because again, you'll have those planners that have super thin paper or just a different quality paper, and you'll write and you'll see the little indentation of the pen, or you'll see just some of the ink come through on this side, and it's really annoying and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's just something that you'll want to check before you buy it. It's just better off that way, okay? All right, so I definitely wanted to test those pens out for you just so you can see. The Erin Condren and Happy Planner are two of the most popular planners, so I'm testing them out on the popular ones in the industry. So, because they're going to be the most readily available. When it comes to buying inserts online, you just really don't know unless you do a little Googling or a little YouTubing just to see what others. Okay, so I'm going to show you Fancy Plans Co. just so you can see what we're working with. I'm going to use the Sharpie. Okay, we're going to use the mild liner. All right, Papermate Flare. And then this is the Inkjoy gel. You also get a chance to see the thicknesses of the pens. This is the Aesthetic. All right, let's see. There you have it. So ours doesn't have bleed through either, which is great. And so that's kind of the idea of the thicknesses of each one. So I have seen people use all of these before. The Sharpie pen does have a thin tip, and there are several colors in this. So that's why a lot of people use it for color coding and things like that. So these are all great options, and none of these have any bleed through. So especially for a beginner planner, if you're just picking up one for the first time, you've never used a planner before, you're just trying to kind of get your feet wet, I would definitely recommend one of these pens. So here's all the ones that I tested. So you can see how bleed through can be annoying once you get that planner home and you start writing in it and you're like, wait, hold up. Why can't I see what I wrote on the previous day on the next day? It's rather annoying. So check it on the front end so you don't run into that problem. Okay, so another thing that you definitely want to check is lay flat binding. And that is the reason why I use disc bound. I don't have to worry about that. When I pull this out of the cover here, when I say lay flat binding, I mean when you open it up like this, everything is flat to the table. It makes it easier to write in. You're not constantly pressing down on the book to get it open. It's open. And this is what I find is the best. A disc bound system or even a coil system is the same way. So like this Erin Condren planner, when I open it up, because it's on coil, it lays completely flat. And I can do it like this, use it like that, you know, and it just works out great to have a laid flat binding. So I typically avoid those hardbound notebooks, not only because the paper tends to be a little bit yellowish, but also because they don't tend to lay flat without you holding them down open with one hand while you struggle with your other hand to write. Okay, so it's just not my thing. But if it's your thing, you know, and you feel like you're that type of girl and you're okay with that, or guy, then go for it. I'm just telling you that it does get a little cumbersome, and you'll probably end up switching to either the coil system or the disc bound system, just because of that mere fact is that it lays flat and it makes it easier for you to write on a flat surface. And so this is what I mean when I say those hardbound or notebook sort of planners like this. So this is called Traveler's Notebook, but this is a part of the Erin Condren system. And so when you open up this, you got to hold one hand down while you write. You can see it's hard to lay flat. Now this is easier because you can kind of bend it back like that and you can get it a little bit more flat. But when you close it and you open it again, you got to do that all over again. And it's not fun. It's not fun. And also, if you're using this sort of system, the Traveler's Notebook sort of system, all of these notebooks would be in here like this, which means that you're going to have a lot going on. You see what I mean? So it's just something to consider. Again, this is a great option. I'm not knocking it. All I'm saying is that you want to look at every option on the front end and kind of test things out. That's why I'm making this video, so that you don't have to do all the testing. So hopefully you have enough information here to make an informed decision on what you want to purchase. But this is just something to think about, okay? Because I don't like having to do this. I just want it to be flat. And then when I let it go, I don't want to lose my page and then I have to find out where I am. So although this is a good option, it's just something to think about before you buy. Now, when it comes to hardbound, that's a whole nother ball game. And there are those of you out there who use it very well and who love it. So keep on doing you. I'm just saying that, you know, for those of you who've never used it before and are maybe considering it, just think about everything before you buy it. Now, I know this isn't a planner. I have this book. It's super cute. It's like an inspirational journal that I had in my stash. I don't have a hardbound notebook to show you, but this is kind of what you would experience. Just to show you on hardbound. This is a hard notebook, so this is how the planner would be. And it would just be hard to keep anything still to write in your planner. They are super gorgeous though. There's so many out there that are super pretty. And I suppose if you're just used to it and you just like it, then again, keep doing what you're doing. It's working for you and you don't have to change it. But if you're the person that wants to see if it's gonna work for you, just consider if that's gonna be annoying to you. All right, so that's definitely something you want to think about before you buy it. And if it's a planner that you just actually have to have, then go for it and just use some sort of clip or clamp, like a butterfly clip or a binder clip or something, and clip it to the pages so that they'll stay open. So that is a great option as well. So another thing that you'll want to consider is whether or not the planner has a sturdy cover. One of the main reasons some planners cost more than others seems to be the cover, which makes sense. If it's a hard cover, it's almost always going to cost more than a soft cover or a laminated cardstock cover. So if your planner stays on your desk at home like mine does, I do sometimes take it around in a bag throughout the house, then the cover isn't that important. But if you're tossing it in your bag, a flimsy cover is going to get very messed up and damaged very quickly. It may even break or bend, and you of course don't want that. So what you probably want to do in that case is go ahead and splurge on something a little bit better quality. So when it comes to disc bound, of course, you have your cover that can be laminated, or it could be a poly cover like this, or a clear cover or frosted cover. So what I do and what I would suggest is that, of course, you keep the cover on like this, but you don't keep it exposed like this. Put it in some sort of leather cover. That way you can protect the outer cover. Just slide it right on in and you have that protection that you need. So regardless of whether or not you keep it on your desk or not, it doesn't matter. You have what you need here in this cover. So that's a great option, and it just keeps everything protected and nice and compact. So you've got your leather covers. You also have these sort of covers, which are from the Happy Planner, which are two-pieced, and you take these and you slide them right on top, or you pop them right on top of your planner. This is classic size, but they do have these covers in other sizes as well. So if you just don't want to do a big leather cover or make the investment in one of these, you can pop something like this on. You could keep the cover like this. If you have this sort of cover on, you could keep that there. I just know some covers are going to show scratches, and over time they're just going to have wear and tear, and you don't want that to be visible. So this is just a great option to protect it. But there are also other covers out there that you may want to consider, so that way you keep your planner covered and protected. And again, if you're going to be taking it out with you on the go or keeping it in a bag or something like that, and it's going to be kind of rumbling around a little bit, you want to consider what type of cover the planner has. Now, when it comes to the Erin Condren cover, you're typically going to see this, which is your standard laminated cover. It is a great quality, but again, you know, putting in your bag is going to move around, and it may bend up, and just it may not be a good idea to just keep this cover on it without having some further protection, maybe again a cover or some sort of band around it just to keep it intact. That should do the trick, but this is how that would typically come. Same thing with the Happy Planner. You're going to see just your standard laminated cover. So this is the most popular option, and then you'll have the hard covers that I showed you, a leather cover, and when it comes to Traveler's Notebook, you'll have something like this, which is more of a soft cover, because you're not going to use these just notebooks like this. You're going to have a cover around it. So just look at all the options out there to see which is going to work best for you, what's the most cost effective if you don't, again, want to invest so much in a leather cover. There's so many budget options around there. There's so many budget options, and so just do some exploration. Just know that if you do invest in a cover like this, it's gonna last you a long time, and that's what you want. There's also binder covers like this. This is from the Erin Condren, so she has her own little binding system here, and so the inserts go inside loosely, and then you have the binder cover here. So just think about everything, again, because it is an investment. Some of these planners cost a pretty penny, and some of them also are wonky, like you just saw. It's a little difficult to close certain covers. So just, you know, play with the options and look at different videos online just to see what you're willing to accept in a planner, what you can deal with, what you can't deal with, and just, again, what's going to work best for you. All right, so we're kind of rounding things out. The next thing that you want to check for is whether or not these planners have extra pages. That may mean something to you. You may want extra pages in the back for different purposes. So some planners include extra pages and some don't. So again, we're going to compare the Erin Condren just because that's, you know, pretty popular, and then the Happy Planner. So within the Erin Condren planner, if you look in the back, she's going to give you some stickers, and then she's also going to give you contacts, and she's going to give you some notes. So that's great because you have some things in the back that you can work with in terms of taking notes and just jotting some things down. So that is great. When it comes to the Happy Planner, you're going to get the at a glance pages on the front end. Now this is a faith planner, so this is going to be hard to show you because this isn't typically what you'll see. But you're going to get the your at a glance pages, and then they may have changed some things. I have to be honest with you guys. Haven't really been in tune with what the Happy Planner is doing because I got my own stuff going on. So I'm not quite sure what they have changed in the new releases of some of their new planners. I do know that they've added the at a glance pages, but if I can recall correctly from the past, I don't believe they have any other pages like notes or anything like that in the back of the planner. It's just the planner. So check for that because, again, some do, some don't. And most companies are going to really advertise or heavily advertise that this is a point of difference in their planners, so you'll know. Okay, so if they don't mention anything, don't expect it. Some planners these days don't include any notes planners, and that's okay because you can hybrid things, especially when it comes to certain planner systems, and add your own notes page. So that's not a big deal, but it is something to consider. Okay, and last up is shipping. Okay, shipping can be quite expensive, especially if you're not going to the craft store, which you can just pick up a planner right from there. So if you want to order something, especially a planner cover like this, planner supplies can get quite expensive when ordering them online. Sometimes not, but sometimes they are, depending on what you're buying and where you live. So if there is a planner you like and it's your version of planner piece, then expensive shipping should be kind of a non-issue. However, if you're not quite sure or you want to try a few, then just be sure to purchase your planner maybe mid-year, like March to May, or look on the clearance, okay? Clearance is always good. So there are so many planner companies these days out there that it could be hard to figure out what you want. So consider those things that I mentioned earlier or throughout this video to really make an informed decision on what you need. Those are all important things. And when it comes to a layout, I would definitely recommend just purchasing a month, maybe off of Etsy or something like that. We do have a sampler planner in our shop that has 12 months of all different layouts. Something like that could work if you're that type of person that you're not sure what layout is going to work best for you. That's a whole different thing because different layouts work for different people. But I definitely wanted to mention the 9 things that I shared with you in terms of just some basics you can check for when buying a planner. And I would definitely recommend doing those things first. Before you buy a planner, do your research to see if it's going to work long term. You don't want to invest in something and then not use it, only to just put it down later or not use it at all throughout the year. That is not good. So we definitely want to be doing that. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a little bit of inspo out of it, maybe found some tips to use when buying your next planner. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you'll consider subscribing to my channel if you're new here, and that you'll come back by and catch another video, in which case I'll see you guys then.